Up next, the 3 best fragrances of all time. Designer fragrances, not niche, but in my opinion, the 3 best, my favorite killer designer fragrances that are just classic. Find out what they are. Coming up next. I am so excited for this video that I even put a code on. You know, I used to wear jackets, sport jackets, because I have a lot of them and I love that style a little bit more in my videos. But for today's video, because it's a special one, it's one I've never done in almost 1,000 videos that I've done and pieces of content, well over 1,000 I've put out in the last 3 years. My favorite 3, what I consider the best 3 designer fragrances of all time. And designer fragrances, to me, are fragrances that come from design houses that are typically, clothing, bags, things like that. They're more clothing and apparel that have then branched into the fragrance business versus niche fragrances, which to me are primarily fragrances that all they sell are fragrances, or maybe things regarding fragrances. Maybe they add on candles or room fresheners, but it's basically fragrances only versus designers, which is, again, your Chanel, Dior, things like that. So without further ado, let's get right into this. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, my favorite, and number 1 is gonna be a surprise, I think, for most of you. 2 of these 3 probably won't be, or at least, I think you could guess. In fact, let's see. Put some guesses down below, guys, what you think are my 3 favorite designer fragrances of all time. Let's get right into this. Coming in at number 3 is, you got it right there, Dolce & Gabbana The One. Dolce & Gabbana The One. This one came out in 2008. So you'll notice my fragrances here, by the way, you're gonna see a little bit of trend. I've got one that's a little bit more classic vintage. This one now, it's almost 15 years old. And I'm gonna have one that's a little bit newer in the last few years. So Dolce & Gabbana and The One, to me, is the epitome of the kind of modern, when I say modern, meaning modern designer fragrances in the last, say, 20 years, since Acqua di Gio kind of launched this new genre. And then you have, of course, Eros and, just so many, Sauvage, things like that, Spice Bomb. To me, this is head and shoulders in that genre, the best fragrance. This is kind of, like a spicy, woody, ambery fragrance. Those are notes that I've always really loved. Just, take a look at the juice and look at the bottle. This is the 30 ml bottle, which, by the way, is around $60. What I really love about this one is, besides the opening with some basil and grapefruit, which basil is one of my favorite fragrance notes, it also has ginger, which gives it a little bit of a spicy sweetness. And that, to me, is like just a great Oriental fragrance. I think this has just been turned into a masterpiece. And then in the dry now, it actually has a very kind of warm, ambery, tobacco, cedary base that I think is perfection for a designer fragrance. I wear this fragrance. I would wear it as I would wear it, and I do, as much as a niche fragrance. To me, these are fragrances that I like just as much as niche fragrances. If you watch my channel, you know that I almost exclusively review niche fragrances because that's what I love, and that's really kind of my lane. Obviously, I smell anything and everything I can get my nose on. I smell all the designer fragrances. I just don't talk about them all the time because that's not what I love. But again, this one, the perfumer, by the way, just in case you didn't know, is Olivier Polge, who is the in-house designer for Chanel, who has done some absolute masterpieces since he took over from his father, Jacques Polge, who was the in-house perfumer at Chanel for years. Olivier took over in 2013. Wow, I can't believe it's now going on almost 10 years. And I love what he's done with his Les Exclusives line of Chanel. Just some amazing fragrances in there. They haven't really come out with a lot of new on the designer side, but he's focused heavily on that exclusive line and has just knocked it out of the park, Olivier. So I think it's kind of cool that he did this one for Dolce & Gabbana before he went to Chanel. It's held up over time. It's held up for almost 15 years now. Great performance, great projection, sexy date night. Of the three that I'm mentioning here today, I think this is the best date night fragrance. Women love it, compliment getter, no-brainer, top 3 all time. That leads me into number 2, and there's a link here and an interesting correlation here, which I think you guys will find maybe interesting or not. And that is, of course, as you can see the bottle, Platinum Egoist from Chanel. So this is the eau de toilette, and by the way, this is also an eau de toilette. So just letting you know, not eau de parfums. Both of these are eau de toilettes, which is a little bit lesser concentration in oils. Okay, what's the connection here? Can you guys who are big perfume fans know the connection between Platinum Egoist and Dolce Gabbana, besides the fact that they're from French design houses? Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. The creator of this one, the perfumer of this one, is Jacques Polge, who, when he was in-house perfumer at Chanel. He created this in 1993. So now we're talking almost 30 years this has been around, and you can still go to any of your kind of retail fashion or makeup stores or whatever, go to Ulta, Sephora, and you will find this fragrance still being sold almost 30 years later. That is extremely rare in the fragrance world. And that's why this is in my top 3 of all time, because to have that type of staying power and longevity is a testament to the greatness of a fragrance. And the fact that I still wear this, by the way, I've had this bottle, you can see, it's pretty low. I've had this since about 1994. I got this when I was in law school. I was 24 years old. I'm basically twice that age now, and I still use this fragrance. Again, if you love that kind of, very classic Chanel smell, which has those powdery aldehydic smells. It's got lavender, it's got rosemary, which gives it a little bit of that kind of marine quality, neroli, petitgrain, which is that kind of a citrus orangey smell. Just, again, fresh, clean, right out of the shower smell, timeless classic. It's got oak moss, sandalwood, vetiver, one of my favorite notes. And then also has cedar, very similar in the base, as does Dolce Gabbana. Again, powerhouse performer for an eau de toilette. 8+ hours of wearing on my skin with good projection. So when you talk about an eau de toilette that performs that well and lasts that long, it's a no-brainer. This one's going to be a little bit, I think, roughly in the same price range, roughly between that $60 to $70 price range for a small bottle. This one, by the way, again, which is a 30 ml bottle that I had, this is the 50 ml bottle. So it's going to be, roughly the same price, in the same price range for those. But that leads me to, where is it? My number 1 fragrance of all time. And I gotta say, this one is the newest, and it's gonna be a surprise. Can you guys guess it? Can you guess it? I've got it right here. I have still a travel size bottle that I've been using. I've gone through because I got a bunch of them. I had probably like 5 of these. So it's taken me a while to get through all of them. This is, and it came out in 2018. I can't believe it's almost 4 years ago. I remember I reviewed this right after I started my channel in like 2019. It had just kind of come out. And this is, without further ado, Sunset Riot from AllSaints, the British fashion house, the British retailer. Again, have you not smelled this one? This is more of a floral, woody fragrance, where this one is a kind of like a clean, woody, citrusy fragrance. This is more of an oriental, spicy, ambery fragrance. A little, obviously, you can see by the colors, dark. This one is just shocked me when I first smelled it. I've talked about it before. They have a great leather fragrance, which is called Leather Skies, which is truly a great fragrance also. But this one, to me, I think for the price, you get this 100 milliliter bottle for around $65. So basically for the same price as a 30 ml bottle of this, you get 100 milliliters of high quality, beautiful fragrance. This one, it's got that spicy orange pink pepper opening. Let me tell you this. If you like Baccarat Rouge $540. Of course, right? Everyone loves that fragrance, right? Baccarat Rouge. Or even if you want to go more, and that's obviously a niche fragrance, if you want to go into something like Cologne, which has that pink pepper or blood orange opening, this fragrance, I'm telling you right now, will give Baccarat Rouge a run for its money any day of the week. What I'm telling you, if you wear this, most people will never know the difference, and you're spending a heck of a lot less money. You can get lots of bottles, and it is just truly, I'm going to tell you right now, an amazing fragrance for the price, for the quality. And again, if you like that kind of ambery, cedar, pink peppery, orange blossom, it's got some rose in there. It's just amazing. And this one is a great unisex. This one obviously is Dolce Gabbana, the one for men. This one also Platinum Egoise, although I could see women wearing it, was designed more for men. This is truly a unisex fragrance. So again, this category I'm doing today, is typically I do mostly, talking about for men and women, but this one would be considered more unisex. The others would be considered more for men. Again, I get on this one, this is an eau de parfum, by the way. So it's higher concentration. I get about 9 to 10 hours of wearing on this. Perfect for this time of year. Perfect date night fragrance. I would still say Dolce Gabbana is a little bit better, but I would say these two are a little bit better as far as versatility goes. Wear them anywhere. This one's, I think, perfect for the office, for a suit, for dressing up. This one's perfect for just any day, all day, any time of the day. Probably, yes, most versatile of the three. That's why I'm also giving it number one. I'm also giving it number one because it's a little bit more modern. As you can see, I went from 1993 to 2018. I'm sorry, 2008. I'm getting all my numbers mixed up. 2008 to 2018. So you got a good span here. You got a wide variety of fragrances. You got a cool connection between Jacques Polge and Olivier Polge and Chanel, Dolce & Gabbana. Obviously, you see those are perfumers that I think are timeless, classic, well-trained in Grasse France, and legendary in the profession. So it's no surprise they've put out amazing fragrances that last throughout the years. We'll see. We'll see how Sunset Riot does over the years. Obviously, it doesn't have the name of the Polge behind it. It doesn't have the big fragrance or even the big design house like Dolce & Gabbana or Chanel. But it is an underdog. It's underrated. You got to try it out. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching my top 3 designer fragrances of all time. Hope you guys watched it. Again, let me know your comments. Let me know your favorites. This is a hot topic. There's obviously a lot of great ones out there that I could talk about, but I had to talk about the ones that I like the most and that I'm recommending for you. I'll be back soon, guys, with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and perfumes.